Om Sri Sairam. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate girim, yat krupa tamaham vande, paramananda madhavam. My pranams at the lotus feet and my dear fellow travelers to the lotus feet. I always start any of my interaction with this sloka above, which is a very beautiful Sanskrit sloka which says that with the divine grace, even a verbally challenged person can become an eminent speaker, and a physically challenged person can jump a mountain. As far as I am concerned, I am both a mukam and a pangum as far as matters of spirituality are concerned. So I require and I request indulgence of Bhagwan and his blessings in this sacred surroundings. At the outset, let me thank all those who have invited me and taken care of me so well and thought it fit for me to come and speak here and share my thoughts with you. Brindavan ashram is where I was also physically blessed by Swami. A few years back, when the Swami was physically alive, physically before us. And therefore I felt it was a very gratifying thing to do, to come and speak in the presence of Swami and address you all. Well, I was asked to share my personal experiences. Normally, I am very wary of sharing my personal experiences. Partly because what is good for me might not be relevant to you all. It is intensely experiential, what Swami tells us and the experience which we all had. And most of you here who have assembled must have not had a direct contact with Swami. Though Swami is here with us all the time, what I call Swami 2.0. Swami 2.0 is with us. But those of us who had, today Siddhi Sai is Maha Samadhi day. So when somebody had diarrhea, Siddhi Sai Baba gave him peanuts to eat, groundnuts to eat. And that some other guy had started imitating that, and you know what the result was. It was disastrous. So what Swami tells each one of us is not universally applicable as an individual medicine for all of us, though the principles which Swami tells us are universally applicable. Secondly, normally when we talk of Swami's dreams and what Swami told us, people might misunderstand. They say this fellow is trying to get some publicity for himself. That's why he is talking now. Actually, during the course of my talk, I'll tell you, in one of the instances, when I told them, they said, one of the person came back and told me, sir, because you are in a position, such a position, you could tell them that this Swami has told you this. But if I tell them, nobody is going to listen. So I said, if anybody can go and tell anything, provided there is a corroborative evidence, what we say, when there is something happens and Swami says something and it happens. Normally when Swami says and people go and say Swami has told us this, we will not say no. So when there is a corroborative evidence, then people obviously believe it. Thirdly, a lot of business is going in the name of Swami. So please, Swami in his 2.0 avatar is with us all the time. So we should not fall for what I call these Paundraka Vasudeva syndromes. Paundraka Vasudeva story? In Mahabhagavatam, there is a story, beautiful story of a fellow called Paundraka Vasudeva. He thought Vasudeva is obviously the Lord himself. So this Paundraka is a kingdom, Paundrik, now the current day West Bengal, Paundrik. So he called himself Vasudeva and got himself two wooden hands, made himself a discus, made himself a mace, and started behaving like as if he was Lord Krishna himself. And obviously Krishna had to teach him a lesson, and it happened. Like Shishupala, he was also demolished. So these Paundraka Vasudeva syndromes are happening. So if you say something, people will mistake. But what Swami told us some of the important principles, the philosophy which Swami has enunciated, these are the ones one should remember. And Swami in his present infinite form is with us all the time. If I tell you he is here with us, I mean there are a lot of instances which I am going to tell you. Post Maha Samadhi, where Swami is physically seen, present and blessing us all the time, then you don't need third parties to talk about him. It has to be one-on-one with Swami. All my young friends, you have to establish a one-on-one connect with Swami. So bear with me, because Sai Bhagavatam, you must have heard. Some of the instances you would have heard. I'm going to repeat them. Some might be not very interesting to individuals, but still, as we say, every time we hear Bhagavatam, the divine nectar of Bhagavatam, Sai Bhagavatam, we all get excited. For the nth time we can listen to it. Charvita Charvanam, we call it in Sanskrit, What we have done again and again, we still repeat. Like Ramayanam or Mahabharatam, Sai Bhagavatam is also a very essential part of our growing up. Let me begin with an anecdote. I don't know, some of you, as I said, some of you would have heard this, some of you might not have heard this. During Dasara, as you know, in Parthi, this Prashanti Vidwan Maha Sabha happens. So this was recounted to me by one of the faculty members and a very close dear friend. As you know, morning there will be a Yaga Yajnam, and evening, even when Swami was present and physically, and now also some speakers speak. The elders here would know what happens there. So during Prashanti Vidwan Mahasabha, one of the speakers started his address as brothers and sisters. You all know how we all speak. So obviously, we all call each other brothers and sisters. And Swami poked fun at him in the speech. Said, "Are you serious? Will you give a piece of your property to one of these brothers and sisters whom you call as brothers and sisters?" In fun. And then the thing got over and everybody had a good laugh and forgot about it. So the next day, this goes on for a 5-6 day time, 9 days, 5-6 days it goes on. The second day, another speaker came, so he was very scared of calling everybody as brothers and sisters. So he started like what I have started, fellow travelers to the lotus feet of Bhagavan. That was how he started his address. So Swami again caught him. He said, "Now yesterday only I told that this chap has said brothers and sisters, and now this man has changed the plate totally." So you see, nobody has conviction. One should have conviction. One should have firmness of faith. If I say something, you should be able to tell me, "Yes, sir, yes, Swami, we are all brothers and sisters." Rather than that, you have changed your tune and played a different tune today. So what is the message Swami is giving us? That there should be a unity of thought, speech and action. Manassekam, vachassekam, karmanyekam. And Swami says, Manassekam, karmanyekam, vachassekam, mahatmanam. So that is one of the messages which Swami told us. And Swami always says, "My life is my message." All of you would have heard about Swami's life being Swami's message. But as a devotee and a follower and a student, what we should ensure is that our life should be his message. My life, his message. That is the theme of our daily upbringing and work. I mean, that should be the topic of my speech also today. He pretty much told me the same thing when long back when we met, when we had an interview in 1991 after getting selected into the IAS. One of the interviews, he said, a lot of things happened during the interview. I was an assistant collector training just 1 year after getting selected. He says, "You are watched and analyzed as a product of Bhagwan's teachings, and your behavior and attitude must be appropriate." So that holds good not just for those of us who are products of Balvikas and former students of Bhagwan. All of us are students, of Bhagwan, not necessarily of the institution, but all of us are Swami students. So all the time we are being watched, all the time we are being analyzed, all the time we are being scrutinized as to what is our behavior and how we behave, how we act, how we talk, and it must be appropriate. So as an aside, that was the first interview I had, but before that, in a couple of years back, as the speaker who introduced me said, my father went and met Swami during 88 and told Swami, Swami, my son has completed his graduate, I've just finished my post-graduation, is wanting to take up law. He said, IAS chairman, Telugu, says, let him study for the IAS. So that was it. So 1988, I took the exam in 89 and got through in 90. So that was again a Swami's guidance. Personal instances, I thought instead of telling you abstract things, let me sprinkle it with a bit of personal instances so that you don't get bored. Similarly, 1990 I got selected. That time, there was a system of all India roasters. I was happy going anywhere and serving. I am in Tamil Nadu now. I got a South Indian card. My father was pretty confused. I mean, he said this fellow might get some northeast state or maybe North Indian state because it runs in a roster. A, B, C, D and the state's name. I mean, I was pretty happy to go. Actually, I wanted to go for the foreign service also. But since Swami said IAS, I took IAS. Then he went and again sat in the line and Swami came. And my father said, Swami, he's got in. He said, South-e vastundi. He said, he is going to be in South only. South-e vastundi. As if Swami knew about this roster system and all that. We didn't say anything. South-e vastundi, asked him to step it. So that was an assurance which Swami gave. So then when they used to release the list of cadres after 6 months after we had joined the Mussoorie Academy. That was the time when, immediately they don't tell us which part of otherwise people won't join. They call it all India integration. So the person before me went to Manipur, Tripura. The person after me went to Uttar Pradesh. And I landed up in Tamil Nadu. Not that it makes a difference, but somehow the parents, parents are parents everywhere. They want the children to be nearer. And Swami, I was also happy because, being nearer means more visits to Swami. But again, coming back to the scrutiny of students, one of the faculty members here, again, narrated to me, I don't know, some of you would have known, about an incident which happened here in Trai. Swami was talking to some of the elders inside the ashram. One of the members, one sitting there, he or she, I don't know who it was, that person told Swami that, Swami, my son has got a job. Swami said, Manchidi Bangaru. As usual, Swami would say, Manchidi Bangaru, good. And this person went on to say, Swami, he is Swami's student. And Swami said quietly, no, he is not my student. Then I believe one of the senior faculty members sitting there butted in, interjected and said, Swami, he is our student only. And Swami again reiterated, no, he is not my student. So what does it mean? Physically, he would have been a student of the institution. He must be having his attendance there. But as you say, if Swami has to accept us as one of his students, technically he might be a student, but was he qualified? Perhaps he was not qualified to be termed as a Swami student. Why? Because he didn't pass the scrutiny. I think Swami does that just to, course correct. Not that he has any hatred. All of the seniors who have spent time with Swami would tell you, he'll just give a bit of a what you call shock treatment so that this guy comes back into the groove again, comes back into the normal thing if he is slightly deviating. So all of us are Swami students. He is the master of masters. Some perhaps were members in the university, some in the college, but all of us were his students in the University of Life. And we have to be a cut above the rest to be called as Swami students and devotees. As they say, the path is very tough, and perhaps the syllabus is tougher. The syllabus which we study is simple, but Swami's syllabus is very simple to expound. Love all, serve all. Be good, do good, see good. This is Swami's syllabus. Service. But to practice, it takes an effort. I don't say it's difficult, it takes an effort. As the Upanishad says, Shurasya Dara Nishita. It's sharper than a razor's edge. Duratyaya Durgamam Padam. The path is very durgamam, that is very difficult. And then it goes on to say, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibodhata. Prapya Varan Nibodhata doesn't mean stop not till the goal is reached. Prapya Varan Nibodhata means Prapya Varan. Varan is enlightened. Get hold of the enlightened and get yourself enlightened. Nibodhata. Prapya Varan Nibodhata. In one of the translation it got mistranslated, so we say arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Actual translation is what Swami would say. Arise, awake, and get yourself an elder, Varan, those who is known, and get yourself enlightened. Because this path is very difficult. And that is what Swami's path is all about. Swami has his own syllabus, as I said. And Swami always says, I don't require your devotion. I mean, he told us so many times. I require your transformation. Swami, we are all devotees. Yes, we are all devotees, but he should call us his devotees. He should tell us that I am you. But he doesn't require our devotion. Does he really require our devotion? What is he asking us to do? He asks us to transform. What is transformation all about? He doesn't speak of any religion, isn't it? Swami says a Hindu to be a better Hindu, a Christian to be a better Christian, and a Muslim to be a better Muslim. I mean, anybody, for that matter, any religion. This is the only system in the world where we don't say you have to follow this particular path. You have to be a better person to transform yourself. And what is the system of transformation? By doing God's work. What is God's work? What He has ordained? What we say in Hanuman Chalisa, Ramakaja Kariveko Atura. Hanuman Chalisa, you would have Vidyavana Guni Atichatura Ramakaja Kariveko Atura. That is what Hanuman is all about. One who is eager to do Ram Karya. Prabhu Charitra Sunibeko Rasya Ramalakana Sitaman Basya. Do God's work, keep Ram in your mind, and always think of God on our lips. And that is in one of the Vahanis, Swami would have expounded, you must have seen the Vahanis, Rupam and Namam. These are the ones which we should think of. And Ram Kaj is nothing but calm. Swami's work, nothing but service. So, I have a simple formulation for that. To say, I keep saying, Man mein Sai Naam or Haath mein Sai ka kaam. That's how we, Man mein, you keep Swami in your mind and do Swami's work as a service. It need not be physical service, mental service. You are doing service by, teaching. It doesn't mean service means every day you do drudgery. That's not the kind of service Swami is talking of. That is the path to transformation. And all our prayers reach Him. That's what we used to say. Because, you know the famous story of Pedabottu. When we say Sairam, Sairam all the time, there's always a doubt in your mind. Does it reach Him? Does He respond? Because this is what has been recorded also. And Pedabottu always used to say, I believe she wanted some mantram to be said or something to be given to her. And Swami said, all that you can't do. Just say Sairam, Sairam, Sairam and be happy. So she used to sit there and say Sairam all the time. I believe once Swami said, hey, why are you disturbing me all the time? He said, what have I done to disturb you? He said, somewhere under the tree you're sitting and saying Sairam, Sairam all the time. What does it mean? It means you're calling me all the time. Sairam doesn't mean, just saying Sairam in thin ether. It's like calling the Lord Himself all the time. So that is the power of prayer. And as we say, Namasmaranat Anyopayam Nahi Pasyame Bhavatarane. For this, To cross, this is a famous Sanskrit, to cross the ocean of this samsara, I don't see any other upaya except Namasmaran, because other things we can't do. Rituals, some of us can, some of us cannot. And anyway, Swami says that's all KG class. All rituals, Swami, one of the speeches you must have heard, he says that's all KG class. You have to come up do much better than that. And Swami has once in one of the Brindavan speeches here itself, I was going through, he quotes Narada Bhakti Sutras and says, I believe sage Narada asked Krishna, what is your address? And Swami quotes, Mad Bhaktani yatra gayante tatra tishtami Narada. Swami has said, this is not somebody else. Swami has quoted this and says, that is precisely my address too. So where you do my namam and where you do my kam, I am there. So nama or kam is this thing. And I always keep saying, God doesn't have any weaknesses. After all, everybody says God is all powerful, God is omnipotent. I say God has a weakness, and that weakness is your prayer. Our prayer, that is his weakness. So it was declared by Swami also. He says, my weakness is your prayer. So whenever you call, I have to be there. You know the famous story of the Gajendra Moksham. Swami has said so many times. So that elephant was struggling, fighting the crocodile. And first of all, the elephant thought it can do it on its own. But finally, it had doubts also. Whether this God who is supposed to be existing, whether he is there or not, I don't know. And then comes the surrender. He says, I have nothing else to do but to surrender to you. It's a beautiful verses in Sanskrit and in Bhagavatam. I have nothing else to do but to surrender to you. I don't know if you are in what form. I don't know where you are. But if you are existing, please come and help me. That's when the help comes. And that is what Gajendra Moksham is all about. And when we are talking of service, is there a good service, bad service, better service, and a menial service? And Swami always says there is nothing like a good and bad work. Everything is service. There is no menial work in service because you're doing with your heart. Again, let me give you a personal example. You've heard of this tsunami, 2004. Some of you would not have been born by that time. Some of you would have heard about it. Some of you would have directly seen that. So I was there in one of the villages. Tsunami came on December 26th. We didn't even know what hit us. I've said this before in one of my speeches, couple of my speeches also. But again, as I say, please bear with me if you've heard it. But this tsunami hit us, and second day we all reached the places. So they gave us orders to go and help people. So I went to a place somewhere in far east, down south, called Nagapattinam district. Some of you would have heard it. There is a place called Vedaranyam, just on the bank. So when I reached there, you won't believe me. I mean, there was major casualties all over, but this was utter chaos. There were about 75 to 80 bodies lying around. We were a team of 5 or 6 people with medical and other things. I was there. So the first thing we had to do was, as disaster managers, I mean, food, water and all NGOs are taking care. What do I do as a disaster manager? First is to dispose of these bodies. Otherwise, what will happen? Epidemics will start. They are in various stages of dismemberment and most of the NGOs, they don't come for this kind of work. They'll say, okay, we'll give you food, we'll give you water, we'll give you old clothes, and we will give you money, and they do all kinds of tamasha. I mean, they're doing work. I mean, it's not as if I can't denigrate them, but I was not able to find somebody to dispose of these bodies. We were 75 of them in one go. All were thinly dispersed. We were stretched thin. We didn't have too many men, because all those officials there also were suffering, and we had to cover the entire state, and NDRF and all took time to come. So immediate task was to dispose of this body. So what I told my staff was that, why don't you go stand there somewhere on the highway, this is slightly inside, and you will be seeing some white and white fellows going. Some volunteers in white and white with a blue collar, Sathya Sai Sevadal people will be going. Catch hold of them and bring them. Tell them, if they ask something, that there is one character called Sai Kumar here, he wants you to be here. Because that name is a passport, Sai Kumar is the name which is a passport to anybody. We go and tell this side. So my people went there, stood on the highway. I think some lorries of volunteers were going. And they said, Sai Kumar wants you to come here. So we had about 15 to 20 volunteers. Believe me or not, they did this work of burying all the bodies and disposing of the bodies, cremating them, within 2 hours' time. Our volunteers did it. So it's not as if it's not as if, this is all of them are what? Educated, well-to-do, must have been in good corporate jobs or private sector, and they didn't hesitate even for a moment. They didn't say, oh, this one, we can't do it. Our religion, our community, our that, our this, that will prohibit us. Nothing of that sort. They just did that work and they said, sir, what next? I said, there is a friend of mine serving in the nearby district. Why don't you go and do the same thing there? That's how we pack them off to the next place. So that is calm. That is service all about. And this is what the service Swami expects from us. There's nothing like a menial work. And where you do this kind of work, Swami is there. And I'm telling you out of my personal experience. Let me again give you a small example, because he expects your love, your devotion, and through your love, devotion, transformation. Now when you speak of Swami's dreams, again just before his Maha Samadhi, one of his dreams, my dream of course, was Swami was quoting a Sanskrit verse. All that time he was leaving the mortal form. People all were very worried. So for a temporary moment, we all forgot that Swami is infinite, eternal, and he is the ultimate God. We all thought he is a small, mortal form there. And, we were all looking at the news and every day getting tensed up. People were weeping. I was also part of that jamboree. Then he showed me this and said, Avajananti ma mudaha. That is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. That sloka he quoted. Avajananti ma mudaha manushim tanumasritam. Parambhava majananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. They don't realize, you people don't realize my true form. Manushin tanumasritam. I have taken a human form. It's not as if I am the human form. Not this 5 feet or 5.5 feet human being. Avajananti is they don't understand my mudaha is all those who don't understand things. Manushim parambhava majaman. They don't understand my ultimate bhavam, that is my ultimate form. I am the Lord of the Lords. Mama bhuta maheshwaram. That is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, and Swami quoted to me. And that you guys don't realize my true sense. You think I am this mortal form. And you do vilapanam, you do crying. But as Swami always said, form is temporary. But my Atma is permanent. So that was Swami's dream as far as the personal experience is concerned. So understand his tattvam to understand him. He is not restricted by this time and space. So, see, he is not restricted by time and space. And follow his teachings, follow his path, is what we always tell all of us. We are in Navaratri, so I am reminded of Adi Shankara's Devi Kshama Stotram. So he says, I don't know all these rituals. I don't know how to do all this, what we do, this Yantra Puja, Tantra Puja and all that, Sri Chakra Puja, all those pujas we don't know. He says, Na mantram, no, and this is not by all of us, this is by Adi Shankaracharya himself. That is meant for us. No, na mantram, no yantram, tadapi chanajane stuti. I don't know mantram, I don't know yantram, I don't know how to praise you also. At least we do bhajans. Nacha ahvanam, I don't know how to invoke you. Normally in rituals, no, you invoke God. I don't even know how to do dhyanam. Tadapi na jane stuti katha. I don't even know how to talk about your glory. Na jane mudras. We don't know any mudras to do. Tadapi na jane vilapanam. Finally, I don't even know as a child to weep for you. But only one thing I know, O mother, param jane mata, tvad anusaranam kleshaharanam. I just follow your paths. Exactly what is applicable to Swami. Swami asks us to do, follow my teachings, follow my path. So that is what we have to do. And what is Swami's connect is all about? Connecting to Sai within. And it's a very experiential thing, you know. Swami talks to us. People outside may think you're bonkers. When you have an experiential thing with Swami, you say, Swami has told us something, people will think this fellow is mad. Don't bother about that. Our experiences cannot be articulated. I can't tell you what is my experience with Swami in my speeches. They can only be experienced. Your brother was mentioning about the IAS SAI. Swami told us as much in the 1991 interview which I was mentioning. He told me, yes, IAS, reverse is SAI. So, both of us are one. That is, try to be like me. Follow my paths. And there were a lot of other things which happened. Some more guidance on wedding, what to do, whom to marry. And on being in the southern cadre, that also I told you already. And my father wanted Swami to conduct the marriage. He says, Swami, you have to do the marriage. And Swami somehow had this, it was not destined to be. So if it's not destined to be, Swami always finds an excuse. He says, Swami always had this, use of the word collector. Whatever, if you're an IAS officer, whatever you used to call a collector. He says, collector marriage ante, lot of people will come. Chala mandi vastaru. So there is no, it was 91 Puttaparthi, no? There is no facility here. So you go get married in Hyderabad. And then I'll come and bless the couple. That's what he told us. So obviously, if Swami were to perform, it doesn't matter facilities are there or facilities are not there, but it was not destined to be. But anyway, he came. 92, we got married, and as things would have it, 2 days, on the day of the Muhurtam itself, Swami was there in Hyderabad to open the Sathya Sai Nigamagamam. There's a huge hall in Hyderabad which Swami came to inaugurate. And we went to Sivam. And as per his promise, he came and blessed us straight with a recognition and blessing. So that is Swami. He will ask us to follow his path. He will guide you and in physical form. I'm going to tell you after his Maha Samadhi also how he continues to guide us. So I was mentioning earlier about the Brindavan experience where I was blessed by Swami physically. That's a long story why I came to Brindavan. Again, I have told this somewhere, and if you have already heard that, bear with me again. You see, I was posted as Commissioner of Madurai Corporation. Corporation is a municipal corporation. So they were constructing a building like Brindavan, Sivam, Sundaram, Dharmakshetra. There it is called Ananda Nilayam in Madurai. It's in a place called Sathya Sai Nagar. As things would have it, there was a land and I don't know if you've heard of the Srinivas Chettiar's family, that they are the ones who donated the land. They are the ones who used to do that Rathotsav, the golden chariot thing in Puttaparthi, and the Sai Paduka pujas and all that. So he gave the land, but there was a local politician boss opposite the land who had his house, and he didn't want that temple to come up. So obviously, the planning permissions would not come. As things would have it, I got posting there as Commissioner of Madurai. And we have an IAS Sathya Sai study circle. It's been going on for the last 30 years. So that senior used to conduct it. And he rang me up, one of the seniors. He said, Sai, now that you are here, Swami's work should be done. So I said, fine, why not? And as a Commissioner of Municipal Corporation, I was the one who can give permissions. So I just went there, saw the thing, and gave construction permission, finish. So the building construction had started. It went on for, normally when a building, it goes on for a year and a half. Nice temple has come up there. And Swami were to come and inaugurate it. So this 1.5 years when the construction was going on, I was there as commissioner. But as things would have it, as I am narrating it to you, that's why I don't narrate these private things, because your ego will get a lot of boost. The ego becomes huge because you are the one who's doing it. And imagine at 57, if I am like this, what would I would have been at when I am 35 or 32. So I started telling people, you see, I am the one who was given this permission, and Swami is going to come. So I'm going to meet Swami there and tell him that, okay, I am the Karaka, I am the prime mover. So exactly 10 days or 15 days before the inauguration, I got shifted out of Madurai and came nearby to Bangalore. There is a place called Dharmapuri. That's the border. That used to be the border, Hosur. That is far off from Madurai, it's far off. I became collector of Dharmapuri and got posted here. And Swami came in, Swami was going to come and inaugurate it. So there goes your opportunity to meet Swami there in that place. I must have met him before, I must have met him in Puttaparthi, but this is a place where I can meet and say, strut around on the stage. Look here, this thing. So that prick had happened. So then I said, okay, anyway, Swami is going to go by road every time. The system is he comes here, goes to Kodai, and he takes a bunch of students and travels by road, Dharmapuri, Hosur, Dharmapuri, Salem, and then he comes to Madurai, and from Madurai he goes up to Kodai. That is the usual stuff, those who have gone through this routine. So I said, since I am the boss of the district on the way, we will waylay him, we will stop him there. I have told the people in Madras, sir, I am here. So I want to invite Swami to my bungalow. These are old-fashioned things, We have those feudal colonial bungalows of the collectors, huge places. A lot of liveried servants and all that. That is gone now. It used to be there. Most of the places are modern constructions now. So I said, let me invite. They also thought it's a good idea, As Swami is passing by, maybe Dharmapuri, just a 5-minute detour, put a shamiana, some bhajans, and Swami can come, have a bite, and then travel further. Again, as things would have it, that particular year only, Swami took a flight from Bangalore to Madurai. He did come by road. That particular year. And everybody said, sorry, we thought you made all the arrangements, but Swami said he's going by flight. So he went there and inaugurated that. There was a yajnam, bricks were all there. And the usual bricks were laid for the yajna gundam, all that yajnam were there. So he stood on some of the bricks, did all that and came back. So after that again he came to this place here. So I thought now I'll chase him here. So Madurai gone, Dharmapuri gone, at least let me catch him in Brindavan. Because as collectors you can't move out of the districts, you need to get permissions from the top right up to the chief minister. It's very difficult. Otherwise I could have gone to Madurai and met him there. It's not like applying for a casual leave and go away, like on a Saturday, Sunday. It doesn't happen. Permissions don't come and there is a lot of sensitivities involved in the district. And that still continues here. If you have to, even to this day, if you're a collector, you have to take permission right from the chief minister to move out of the district physically. So that way I couldn't go there. And but Saturday, Sunday, my border was extending up to And those days it was not this 3-hour drive from Hosur to Brindavan. It used to be 1 hour, 1.5 hours, no traffic, simple drive. Just came over, no constructions, nothing. Some far away, it's all greenery, parking was done somewhere here. I came and sat somewhere, I think this place I came. I thought maybe Swami thought enough is enough. I have pricked this fellow quite a bit. So when he came straight, then created a whole lot of vibhuti. He gave it to me. And that entire thing, normally he wipes off to a kerchief, One person will be carrying a kerchief. So what he did was he wiped the entire thing on my shirt and left. So that was the finale for this story. When I say I had the Swami's blessings in Brindavan, so that is the long story. Why I am telling this story? Not because I am proud of my achievement of getting his darshan, but there's a moral in this story. Moral is that if you think you are the karta, you are the one who are doing all these things, you are forgetting the basic principle that you are not the karta but somebody else. You are only an instrument in the hands of that person. It is bound to get pricked. The balloon will get pricked at some point or the other. It's bound to happen with Swami. I think a lot of people would have told you their experiences, but this happened. So physical proximity is fine, but Swami has passed on from his finite form to his infinite form. So how do you connect to this? Most of you would not have met physically Swami, those who are sitting here. And there is a lot of young crowd, fresh devotees who are coming in. As Shirdi Baba says, Swami talks to us from his samadhi. I'll tell you, there are post Maha Samadhi, his physical presence, it's exploded like mad. I mean, everywhere we can see, because he is not restricted. Even when he was physically present, as I said, we are thinking that he was there, but except for those people who were part of the university system here or were studying here, those also, they do a 5-year period and go away, or a 3-year period. We must have met him, once in a year, or once in 5 years. I was posted in the district, so maybe we had bhajans, but my interaction was pretty long. After that Brindavan thing, for the next 5 years, I didn't meet Swami. And then when I went to Parthi after maybe 5-6 years, I was sitting in the line. He came and said, Epudochav. That is, at least he recognized. He said, he's not come, but he mouthed it out. He says, Epudochav means, when did you come? That's a way of, saying hello in Telugu. That's a way of saying hello. He says, Epudochav. So whenever I sit there, he doesn't, after that there was no talking. He says, Epudochav. That mouthing keeps on happening, Epudochav. Epudochav means Swami doesn't know, as if he doesn't know. You just come in the morning, have his darshan and go on the next day. We know all that. But it's a way of recognition, and we are happy that he has recognized you. Epudochav is a big word from Swami for us, because I know you fellow exist and you have come. So that has passed now. So after that, how do you connect to Swami? And again, Lalita Sahasranamam, as it says, Antarmukha Samaradhya, Bahirmukha Sudurlabha. It's easy to chant it out, What does it mean? It means it's not he, she, or the God is not available outside. You have to turn inside. You have to turn inside. Unless you turn inside, you will not be available. So Swami again tells you this in one of his speeches. He says, our mind has 2 wives, he says. One is Antardrishti, another is Bahir Drishti. So Bahir Drishti is looking outside. Looking outside is like the Kauravas. 100 things, 100 children, all directions, distractions. You always look outside and get distracted. Nothing happens. In one of the, somebody, I thought, as a digression, somebody asked Swami, I want to do meditation. I was also there, meditation. Swami said, half the time you sleep during meditation. Half the time you think of something else. Because your mind is always diverted, It's not as if Antarmukha Samaradhya, you sit and meditate. What do you meditate on? Meditate on Sairam. But most of the time you're thinking of the breakfast or the lunch or dinner or some other thing which has happened in the morning or which is going to happen in the evening. And if it's a 45 minutes meditation, believe me, there is a 15-minute recess of sleeping. I've seen meditation sessions where I can hear snoring of people also. Some people snore it off also. That Swami himself has said, I'm not trying to poke fun at anybody, but Swami said that. So what do? You have to, that stillness of mind comes by being good. There must be goodness. And how does it come, this goodness? By looking inwards. And again he says, the antardrishti is like Pandavas. Sathya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa. This is what antardrishti is all about. Not the Kauravas. This is the life, very beautifully is explained to us, this Kurukshetra. Not the antardrishti, but bahirdrishti, but antardrishti. And this coming on meditation, Swami said, how does there's a goodness in society comes because if you are doing good actions, one of his speeches is, what is a good action? Don't think this is a picture of Swami. Every house has the picture. And what we do, we think it's just a picture and light a lamp and put a mala and go about. It's Swami's presence in our house. Swami's presence in our place of residence. If you think of it like that, what will happen? Goodness. We don't do any wrong things. Would you do a wrong thing if you think Swami is looking after us, looking behind you all the time? Would you tell a falsehood? You will cheat somebody, you will do something bad. And if goodness is there in each and every household, as Swami says, there will be goodness in the society. Greater good. And greater good is what gives you peace of mind and stillness in the mind. And that is the way to realize God. Too much of serious stuff, but this is what Swami's teaching is all about. So that is our connect with Sai. Infinite form, and as I said, from finite to infinite form, and Swami 2.0. And in this infinite form, as I said, we must have gone once or twice, I got digressed when I was telling that. But now, you are always in connect with Him. Even when He was in physical form, you know that He was there, but you always prayed to Him from far off, So that infinite form. So that is what I call in the Samipyam syndrome. Swami always talks of Salokyam, Samipyam, Sarupyam and Sayujyam. This is the Samipyam. That is nearness. Nearness is happening now post Maha Samadhi because you are always in connect with Swami. There are beautiful instances. I'll tell you my own very few instances, though that might give me an ego booster. But just to prove a point that Swami is, way back in 80s, Swami, my mother was seriously sick. So my father went to Swami when we thought she will not survive. I was still in my undergraduate and I have 3 more siblings who were much smaller. So Swami said nothing will happen and he created a small lingam, Shiva lingam, gave it to my dad and said, you pour some water on that, no abhishekam and all, pour some water on that every day and give it to her. And give it to others also who are not well. So my dad came back, then there were some pandits in Prashant Nilayam, they said, Swami has given you that lingam, we will tell you how to do the abhishekam and this, not the entire Rudram, but a few verses from the Rudram and a few verses from the Shivopasana mantras. It's because, everybody goes to work and somebody was not well. So he used to do that every day and give that water. So she recovered, of course. I don't have to say that. She went on till 2019. I was talking of 80. She went on till 2020 also. Till her 83rd year. She lived till her 83rd year. But what happened was when my father, and then there was a big rush of people coming to collect this Tirdham, because word spread in Hyderabad that, my father was in some study circles and people used to come and collect this Tirdham. When I shifted to Madras, my father was old, so he also came and settled with me. And when he passed away, we were I thought we should not, I just kept it in a silver box and put it in an almirah and locked it. Because I thought, it should not go break or something. Because as it is, it was very old, 20 years plus. So a small chipping in the bottom. I thought it might break. What Swami has given should not break. So one day I had this dream, when Swami was still in his mortal form, where Swami tells me, how come that the lingam is locked away in a almirah? I said, Swami, adi viripoyindi. Telugulo I said, it's broken. Swami says, I am in a wheelchair. Does it mean you stop worshipping me? What if it is broken? I have given it to you. So if I am in wheelchair, doesn't mean you stop worshipping me. He was quite sternly told me. So I said, okay, Swami, I am doing it. From tomorrow onwards, I put it back in the puja room, puja altar, and started doing that. Till today, I do that. Except when I am traveling, that lingam is still there with me, and we still do the puja. That's a thing which is happening. Now, after that, what happened was, every time we have a bhajan at home, we have this, I told you about this IAS study circle. What happened was, started 30 years before, but we do the Sathya Sai study circle once a month in some officer's house. And every time we do it, there is vibhuti manifestation on the photo. Every bhajan, most of the bhajans, I don't say every bhajan. And again, this ego hassle, I tell you, when this time it keeps coming, So you have Madras, you have this temple called Sundaram. Some of you from Madras would know about Sundaram. So I used to go to Sundaram on every Sunday mornings. I used to stay in a place called Adiyar, which was very near Sundaram. As the crow flies, it is about 2 kilometers. And I went there on a Saturday. Normally I go on a Sunday. We went there on a Saturday. On that day, on the main altar of the temple, there was vibhuti manifestation. So both me and my wife, that day happened to be our wedding anniversary. So the local caretaker, he says, why did you come today? I say, who told you that there was vibhuti? I said, we didn't know there was vibhuti, but since it was our wedding anniversary, we came here to see Baba's blessings. Swami, then this man said, perhaps it was for your sake this thing has come. So like a fool, I told my wife, if it was for my sake, it should have come in our house. Why did it come in Sundaram? That's the ego, It should have come in our house. As the crow flies 2 kilometers, for Swami, 2 kilometers is nothing. It should come in our place, not in Sundaram. Sundaram means it is for general, janta, for everybody, not for me. And my wife says, you are an incorrigible fellow, you always talk like this. And then we went home. As we opened the puja room, lo and believe me or not, there was a whole lot of vibhuti inside. So this impertinence, you have, this ego you have, Swami has a way of answering it. He'll say, don't be impertinent in future. And again, one more instance of Sundaram I'll tell you. Again, documented. Those from Madras will know it. In one of the dream sessions, Swami tells me that, because I was not able to go too much of work, I was not able to go to Parthi. So I had this dream where Swami says, don't worry, I'm also in Sundaram. Sundaram also is my house, you don't have to come if you're busy. And then incidentally, in my room upstairs, that pillow, they have removed it. I don't have my pillow there. These were all after Maha Samadhi, not recently, 2015-16. So what would you do if somebody tells you like that in a dream? If I go and tell somebody there, they'll think this fellow is totally gone. How can I go and tell somebody, their caretaker, sir, go up and see in Swami's room that there is no pillow? I think this fellow is either an egotistic fellow or totally gone case. Bonkers. So very hesitantly, I was, for 1 week I didn't say. Second week I went there, I said, I couldn't resist myself. I said, Sir, if somebody is going there up into Swami's room, can you please check if the pillow is there? Swami told me. So the caretaker there went up and checked. Really, the pillow, after cleaning the room, they have locked the pillow. Monthly cleaning or something they do. They locked the pillow inside the almirah and then didn't put it back. So how many, it's connecting the dots, you see. If there is a dream, it has to be corroborated by something which happens later. And this has happened. So after that, regularly now they put it. I'm not saying because, because, you have to connect to Sai within, and then Swami talks to you. That's how now every day you find not only the pillow, but also a glass of water and some fruits and everything kept there in Swami's room. And you must have heard of the Sai Kailash in Uti. I was physically present on one of these occasions where, I went to Uti, and on the way I thought we'll go to Sai Kailash. Sai Kailash is Swami's mandir in between Kunur and Uti. So it's run by those simple people, Badagas there. Swami, I believe, told them that he'll come to open it, but he left his mortal form before that. So there, if you go there, even today, Swami's presence is felt. So on the day I was there, they normally they keep a bowl, they keep food for Swami. After that, they put a bowl there for washing, washing bowl, and then they close the door. So when I went there and they opened the room, there were food particles left in that washing bowl. There was vibhuti erupting in my presence, were erupting from the floor. And I was standing there, the jhula, the jhula is that swing, Swami's swing, where here also you have Swami's swing. That's a heavy wooden jhula, started moving on its own. They asked me to take Aarti. I was doing the Aarti. The jhula started moving. Then one of the youngsters there, he commented, he says, perhaps a draft of wind. What draft of wind can move a jhula but allows the camphor flame to be still alive? If it was a draft of wind, the camphor flame should have gone first. But the camphor flame was living, but the jhula was moving. I said, anyway, you go close the door, close the window. So they went and closed the window also. Did the entire Aarti. The jhula movement stopped only after the Aarti was given, completely. After we did the Paramam Pavitram thing only, the jhula stopped. And I'm a living testimony. This is not a second-hand version. A lot of people tell you the second-hand version, so and so. This is my own version. I have seen it. And one more instance, post Maha Samadhi is, Dr. Mohan, perhaps he would have spoken here. One of the study circles, we invited him in our house to speak. Dr. Mohan is a famous diabetologist in Chennai. I think he also spoke here I was told he spoke here about 5-6 years back. So he was speaking, as he was speaking, he made a comment. He says, this Swami's miracles, you don't know. After, for whatever it is, he pointed to a photo behind him, is it? Pointed to a photo and said, whatever it is, it might start coming from this now. He was only speaking about his book. He wrote a book and said, it might start coming. I know, this was before the book. He recounted all this in the book also, before writing the book. And we all, the speech got over, we did the bhajans, and then the Aarti was done. And one of the senior sevadal organizers, he went and told Dr. Mohan, sir, you should not have spoken like that. You're challenging Swami. You're challenging Swami, saying for whatever it is, the photo will give you vibhuti now. That kind of challenges and all should not be done. And Dr. Mohan said, okay, I'm sorry, but that's in this part of the moment I spoke. And as we adjourned, normally after this thing we have food counters, and since the bhajan session is long, we serve dinner also in the study circles. We just started our dinner, then somebody said, vibhuti starts pouring out of the photograph, just to prove that I don't want to let Dr. Mohan, Swami didn't want to let Dr. Mohan down. Since he has challenged, he said, okay, look here, it can start coming. It started coming from that photograph in my own house, in front of our eyes. So if this is not connecting to Swami, what else is connecting to? This is our own experience. And one of these days when we were having bhajan at home, I had this weird dream where Swami gets out of the auto rickshaw in front of my house and walks in. Ridiculous dream, you know. Again, I can't tell anybody. So I kept quiet. And after the bhajan is over, the vibhuti starts coming from the photo. So then I have to tell people, look here, Swami told me that this is what is happening. If I had told somebody before that he is coming in a auto rickshaw to the house for bhajan, they would have thought, this fellow is goners. They're not saying it because, you know, they think I am a reasonable, you know, rational, having passed some exam, having some position in the society. But if I tell this to somebody third party, what will they say? They'll say this fellow is gone. But that's why I say this is an experiential thing. This has got nothing to do, no scientific logic, you know. That's what everybody says. There's no logic, there's no reason. This is extremely experiential. Beyond science, where science stops, Swami begins. Otherwise, there is no meaning to all these things. I mean, I can go on like this. I'll tell you another crazy incident. Crazy from my point of view, not Swami's point of view. Because normally, you know, the government system of cars, the front seat is left vacant in the government car, and the officer or somebody sits diagonally behind the driver. I don't know why, but for years together it's been happening. Old ambassador cars also. Next to the driver, the seat is kept vacant, and we sit behind. That's because I believe when as a collector or something, there used to be a turbaned dafedar who sits in the front, just to show that this fellow is coming. So that is the system. So I always sit in the seat diagonally, and everybody asks, why are you sitting at the back? I say that front seat is meant for Swami. Just as a joke, I keep saying that's meant for Swami. You know, he is my you know, navigator. In US and all, you know, somebody will be before Google came, when you drive, you have to have a map. And they used to see the maps and drive, so they used to call them navigators. So he's my navigator. That's a kind of a joke, which I keep saying. But I have a Swami's photo in the car, and every day, you know, when we travel, we just pray to him and go. So happened that normally another Sai devotee friend of mine, he was having his birthday party. So he invited a few people in a hotel. I shouldn't be saying this, but all of us in Sai fold, we're all vegetarians. I'm a strict vegetarian, and so was that few friends who had come. But this gentleman who invited, since it was his birthday, he had a bit of liquor. All of us, we said nothing doing, you shouldn't do it. But he said, today is my birthday, let me have it. He had a bit of liquor. So since he had it, he couldn't drive his own car. He was not an officer. So he couldn't drive his own car. So I said, I'll drop you. Come in my car, I'll drop you. Because I have a driver. I was sitting next to him. So I took him. It's not as if he had too much of this thing. He was very conscious, nothing, just a bit of thing, just to celebrate. And we were other 5-6 people, or senior people, officers were there. We said, why are you doing this? And he said, it's my birthday. So I went and dropped him at home and left. And his car, we gave it to some driver, asked him to, because you know you can't drive when you have that. So next day, 5:45 in the morning, this gentleman comes and rings the bell. I said, what has happened? Only yesterday, 11:30 in the night, I have dropped you at home. What is so great, what is so busy, and what is so urgent? He says, I want to come and apologize to Swami in your house. I said, what happened? He didn't say anything. He just rushed into my puja room, took some vibhuti, prayed for some time, then came out weeping. He said, Swami came in my dream yesterday and says, how dare you sit in my car? How dare you sit in my car after consuming liquor? That was the event. So even for joke, don't joke about Swami. So I keep joking, you know, he is my navigator, he sits in the front. Which is true. It happened. So one should not, these are all personal things, but if I tell you abstract philosophy, nobody will bother. But these are experiences which that person is staunch devotee, very staunch devotee. But I don't know, after that I don't think he would have dared anywhere near to go anywhere that particular commodity. But Swami threatened him. He says, how dare you sit in my car after consuming liquor? And that was an official car. That's my official car. Where I keep joking, Swami is my navigator. So this is what, I've not said this anywhere before. This is the first time I'm narrating this incident. And you must have heard of this, when we did this Ekadasi Rudram and Sivam in Sundaram. We were all there. I was there also. In the Kalasham, there was an emerald lingam which had come on its own. And we were witness. After that, we touched it and saw that. So which is a proof that Swami is there. And a couple of small instances after that, perhaps I'll get back to some principles. These things keep happening. My daughter's Arangetram was there. She was a Bharatanatyam dancer. So June 12, I went to Parthi, and June 2012, put her Arangetram invitation before Swami. Then obviously in the puja room we keep one. On the day of Arangetram, lot of vibhuti had come. Small instances, but instances where, how do you connect to Swami? The vibhuti keeps coming to us. And the Sathya Sai hospital here, Whitefield, in Swami's room, vibhuti comes. So when my son was getting engaged, he got married last month, but in January was the engagement. So I gave that invitation to the warden there and said, can you please place it in Swami's room? I believe vibhuti keeps coming there. And next day, I don't know, mound of vibhuti on that invitation. Whole mound, not just sprinkling, whole mound of vibhuti on that. So what happens is this, it's a way of saying that I am there. You have to connect to me and I am talking to you all the time. So the answers come. And what the warden did was, the caretaker, what he did was he packed the whole thing, and next day we were coming to Parthi, so he brought it to Parthi and gave it to us. He said that vibhuti is still with us. We used it during the wedding. And another crazy thing I'll tell you. As I said, my son got married. This is the latest one. Again, crazy from my point of view. Not Swami's point of view. This is all, from Swami's point of view, these are very routine things. The wedding was in USA, so we were going to US, so I had this dream where Swami was carrying a suitcase and coming along with us. So no joking about that. So I told my wife, this is the dream, so Swami's manifestation, somewhere it will come. Because we can't take it lightly, these kind of things. By now I know that whatever Swami's messages, it will happen. But wedding, nothing happened. And in US, this system of taxis and drivers will not be there. So the bride's party, somebody from the Sai Samiti was made as just to take me and my wife and my son from the hotel to the Kalyanman. He was a very staunch Swami devotee. So after the wedding, he said, sir, I'm giving you this packet of vibhuti. I said, fine. He says, what is special about this? This is a vibhuti given by Swami when he was physically present. That was in 2010 or 11. I believe he came here. He keeps coming. He is the head of the New Jersey Samiti there. And he gave me that vibhuti. So this is an indication, because I keep connecting the dots. You say, this is a vibhuti given to a person sometime 10 years back. So what is the possibility of that person keeping it for 10 years without using it? Normally, if Swami were to give you a vibhuti, what will you do? Whatever vibhuti is manifested, I told you, we use it immediately. What I do is I do that abhishekam. Whatever vibhuti manifests on the photos, I put in that tirtham and give it off to everybody who comes. So it's not as if I store it for posterity. This person doesn't even know me. This person doesn't know I'm coming to US. This person doesn't know that my son is going to get married to his friend's daughter. This person doesn't know he is going to be my navigator. But he still preserved that vibhuti for 10 years. And after 10 years, he comes and gives it to me, saying this is Swami's materialized vibhuti. Physically, he has given it to me 10 years back. So look at that. I mean, when he says, I am there with you, there has to be some kind of connection, and that is connecting the dots. So normally this 10 years, what happens is if Swami gives you vibhuti, it's not meant for you. It might not be for you, it might be for somebody in posterity, we don't know. Same thing happened in my daughter's wedding. What happened was during daughter's wedding, there was a reception. Somebody during the reception, our system of reception is where the bride and the bridegroom stands and everybody comes in a line. One senior devotee, devotee's son, he came and gave me a packet of vibhuti. He said, sir, this is a manifested vibhuti. And we wanted to give it to you, both brothers. They said they will give it to you. We wanted to give it to you because we felt like giving it to you. Normally reception you give some silver item or some bouquet or some such thing. This man came with a vibhuti and he didn't give it to the bride and bridegroom, he gave it to me. And I pocketed it and we were all happy and he left. Actually that vibhuti was not meant for me. What happened was that night, one of my cousins who was supposed to come from Hyderabad for the wedding, he fell very sick. He had a heart failure, 35, 40-year-old fellow, cousin's husband. And doctors have said it's a gone case. So when we went home, they said we couldn't come for this marriage and reception because he was sick. Then suddenly I said, okay, look here, this vibhuti has come. We'll pack it and send it to Hyderabad. That was from Madras, we sent it to Hyderabad. Believe it or not, within 1 week that man came back home. Prim and proper, perfectly all right. So this vibhuti which he has... This vibhuti which has come to me was not meant for me. This vibhuti which had come to that person in New York was not meant for him. I don't know where Swami keeps on connecting the dots. What Dr. Mohan calls as these are not coincidences, these are Sai incidences, he calls it in that book. So there are no coincidences in Sai's fold. They are all Sai incidences. If I am here today, it's a Sai incidence. If some of you are here listening to it and I have narrated some things which I have not even noted in my notes, that's a Sai incidence. When I come with a particular kind of notes and we talk something else. Okay, thank you. I'll wind up by one last incident. Because we keep saying, I also keep asking Swami, all this is fine, but what is the way ahead? How do you do? So in one of these dream sessions, again, meaningless kind of a thing, Swami gives me a copy of Avadhuta Gita. That is a philosophical text. It's about 40 verses. Along with that, gives me a copy of Loving God. I don't know what it is. So I get a copy of Avadhuta Gita and then Loving God is there. So randomly I open a page. Avadhuta Gita is supposed to be written by Dattatreya. It's a text of Advaitic philosophy and wisdom. So I open there, Kasturi Garu in one of the things says, Swami's feet, mentioning about Swami's Padukas, he says Swami's feet are nothing but the feet of Dattatreya. Random page I open. So, and I get a book of Dattatreya for future reference. It's only relevant to me, it's not relevant to everybody because it says that Avadhuta Gita and that book of philosophy given by, and this random page says Swami is nothing but Sarva Devatatita Swarupa. His feet, we have this fixation for his lotus feet. They are the feet of Dattatreya himself. That is one of the pages I read. I don't know if it is there. That day I opened it, it is there. Normally we read a book and forget all about it. No, it must have read it about 10 years back. So when Swami has given it. So what is it? Again connecting the dots. A Sai incidence which happened. So what Swami asks us to do is to transform. I said, please do not go by this popular notion that there is a vacuum. Swami is not there. What do we do? Because what I do is, there are intensely personal experiences which I am not willing to say out, but if I go to Prashanti, pray at the Samadhi, put a letter inside, believe it or not, it happens. There are a couple of instances which have happened. Maybe sometime in future I'll tell you, but this has happened in my own case. It happens. So that strong Swami vibration which is there, it's there here also with Swami place. What we should do is, what happens is when we go home or when we go to our respective places, we forget about these vibrations. We carry a lot of vibration from Prashanti or Brindavan or Sundaram. That has to be retained when we go there. So live in the constant presence of Sai. That is my humble prayer to Swami himself. It's not as if I am doing it. I am only articulating it so that he blesses me to live in that constant, so that we don't forget those vibrations and always think he is there. After all, we've got those vibrations. But definite presence of Swami is there in all these places where Swami has visited. And if I tell you, we feel his presence always, either here or Brindavan and Sundaram. Whenever I go there, I feel his presence. So with those words, I think I thank, and I'll call it a day correctly. I think I'm just about in time. So maybe some more instances I'll reserve for a future time. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I thank Swami for this wonderful opportunity given to me. Sairam.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wonderful thoughts and divine experiences with all of us. And as you spoke of connecting the dots and establishing that one-on-one connection with Bhagwan, I'm sure every one of us present here was reminded of our own connect, each one, the connect that we have with Bhagwan. You started off with speaking about the importance of conviction, right, in carrying out Swami's message, and also the importance of humility and connecting with the Sai within. Personally, to me, and I hope to others, the biggest lesson is to be engaged in Sai Karya always. Haath mein Sai ka kaam, muh mein Sai ka naam, और घर में साई का धाम. These are the three things that we should always aim to achieve. As a token of our love and appreciation to you, sir, I now welcome Dr. T. Ravi Kumar, the warden of the Sri Sathya Sai Boys Hostel, Brindavan, to please present Dr. Sai Kumar with a shawl as our token of love and appreciation. Now, I invite Sri Vinay Kumar, the chairman of the Brindavan Management Committee, to please present our eminent speaker with a memento. Thank you so much. A few announcements. As part of the Dasara celebrations, the Sri Sai Chandikamba Saptaham is being conducted from today up to the 21st at the Sri Sai Krishna Kalyana Mandapam. On the 20th of this month, we will be celebrating the Avatar Declaration Day at Sai Ramesh Hall with special bhajans in the morning and a talk on the glory of Sai by Dr. Anand Krishnamurthy, an alumnus of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Next month, we will be having the 24-hour Global Akhand Bhajan on the 11th and 12th of November. The following week, from the 19th to the 23rd, we will witness the grand 98th birthday celebrations of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Our next Samarpan, please note, will be held on the 4th Sunday, not the 3rd, but the 4th Sunday of November on the 26th due to the Akhand Bhajan and Ladies' Day celebrations. The November Samarpan is very special as it marks the 150th edition of the Samarpan series. And to decorate this episode, we will have indeed a rare gem from the Sai family, Dr. P. Ramadevi, MD in Pediatrics, who was handpicked by Swami for service in his divine mission in the early 60s. Please do join us in large numbers to listen to her experiences with Bhagwan. Now, we will conclude with Mangala Aarti, followed by Trai Pradakshina and Prasad. Request everyone to please join in the procession and partake of the Prasadam. Thank you. Jai Sairam.
ओम जय जगदीश हरि स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्दयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्दयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नागेन्द्राशयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी वो साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल हारति अंदुको मंगल हारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम जय